day 22 of the fast, 8:41 p.m., 2024. 22 days ago, I decided to start a instant gratification and sugar fast for 4 months. There are some minor exceptions, like if I need to learn something, I'll get the information that I need and then apply it immediately. And on occasion, I like to put honey in my coffee, but like raw honey, and still eat fruits and stuff for the nutritional benefits. But technically, for 3 days, I haven't had any sugar because I haven't had any coffee. So there's that. Give me a minute. I guess there's not really much to say today. I didn't really learn too much today. I was working and there weren't many people there. I ended up having to close by myself. It was actually pretty relaxing since it was midday. I could take my time and, I was able to conserve energy that way, which was cool. Nobody was there to tell me how to do it. Yesterday, I actually did get back on drawing. And I think I'm improving pretty fast. I studied the Loomis head method so that I could understand and draw heads easier. And before that, like a few days ago, I tried to do a study on the skull. It's just a skull, but I understand I understand the bones a little bit, and like the planes. But yeah, I really do need to remember to give myself more credit. And I also learned that 2 days ago when I stopped drawing, I broke my streak, it wasn't because I was tired, it's because I hit a wall. So I actually fell into that trap. Right now, I haven't gained enough traction to actually, I haven't gained enough. I'm still fighting resistance, and that's what I gotta remember. So, a bit like a parent convincing their kids to eat their vegetable. I was on the first head and I was like, I don't want to do this. Or I was like, all right, well, how about we just do 5 heads today? So I did 5 heads. And I pushed myself a little bit more than where I thought I should stop. And that's actually something I learned to do from David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. It's a little bit at the end, but he talks about the governor, which is kind of like your limiter. It's been proven that there's a part in your brain that is completely separate that is responsible for resistance. And it's the thing that's responsible for impulse control. And you can grow it by doing more things you don't like cold showers or stuff like that. David Goggins referred to that as the governor, and he actually figured that part out before the study was done, which was kind of cool. And yeah, it was really inspiring, and I definitely make sure to use the techniques I learned from the book to apply to anything I do. I also have a few other books, one on reading body language and also some fiction, because I have the whole Witcher series that I haven't really started reading, but I really love the Witcher games, so I figured just you know what, maybe I'll read the stories. And yeah, I do know now that it's important to build consistency. And I also Speaking of consistency, I think I forgot to write down in my journal yesterday. I didn't actually prevent myself from doing it. I just straight up forgot. But I still need to record something for that day. Oh. I didn't do it for 2 days. No shit. Sorry. Give me a minute. 20th, 2024. Forgot to write. I'll get back to that later. But yeah, when it comes to building up resistance to resistance, you got to start small in ways that you don't expect. Just do something, go a little bit past what you would normally consider to be done. When it comes to tasks or anything, it's like if you remember your parents telling you, it was like when you were not wanting to eat your vegetable, and they were like, okay, well, can you at least eat 1 or 2 more? It's the same idea. You got to use that for your brain too. And little by little, you'll learn that you've gained more resistance to resistance. And you'll be able to accomplish a lot more. But you also have to make sure your mental is kind of in order, because procrastination is actually more of a depression response. And if you procrastinate a lot, maybe there's something going on in your life. And if you're bogged down by perfection or anything like that, I used to be, I still kind of am, I'm still fighting it now. It was like a year ago, I would have said that drawing was total garbage. And I would not have actually learned anything, would have given up. And I probably would have stopped at the first head. But instead, I noticed that I didn't know enough. So I went and got more information. And then I applied that information as many times as I could force myself to do it. And it got to the point where I actually wanted to do more, but stopped myself anyway. Because don't want to overdo it. It's not that time yet. It's not that time to do that. I'll do more of that on my off days or something. But on days that I work, I need to make sure that I understand that energy is not free. That might be an excuse. And if it is, I'll figure it out eventually. But for right now, I think that's the correct approach for me. In regards to the other problems, trying to figure out how to get a passive income, I do have one idea. I actually came up with a couple ideas. But it was one is the stock trading thing. I had a friend who was willing to teach me that. He's a little bit lazy, but I think if I bother him enough, he might actually be willing to. And if not, there's information online that I can use to start. And I just got to remember that when it comes to that, I'm going to lose and I'm going to gain. But I always just need to keep doing it anyway. It's like anything with life. There's always going to be something. There's always going to be something to something that you can consider a win with it, but there's also huge losses attached to it. And that's kind of what was scaring me from moving forward, because I was too afraid of the loss. But I realize now that that's not the appropriate way to go about these things. It was like, I shouldn't really be concerned about the loss, especially if I've already confirmed that it's something that I actually want to do. It's like, I can never separate myself from art. I always seem to come back to it. So, yeah. And I think the only reason I kept coming back to video games, even though I tried to give those up too, is partially because it's one of my passions, but also it's probably one of my biggest vices. And I will learn to bring that back, all of it back, in a more maintained way, so that I can do equal amount of play as I do work. I can even work while playing sometimes, because I like playing games that challenge me when I play games. But yeah, I did realize that they were too much of a distraction from everything else that I have to do. So I gave them up for 4 months. And I threw sugar in the mix too. It pretty much made it to where I cannot use any of my vices to replace the vice that I was trying to give up. Because if it wasn't games I was doing, I was watching too much anime. And if it wasn't anime, I was reading too many comics. If it wasn't comics, I was watching too much YouTube. And it would keep doing that. So I just said, I'm not going to do any of it now. I'm just going to force myself to work. And I'm still struggling with it. But I'm getting better at it. And I hope at the end of this 4 months, it's like I won't have to struggle with it anymore. I'll actually like the idea of working on stuff like stuff that I feel is related to my purpose, at least, not so much the job part. But yeah, I don't know if I already said this, but I did get a buyer for the car, waiting to hear back from him. And it's like, he may or may not, but I have decided to just sell the cars and possibly use that to jumpstart my passive income. Use that to kind of play around with. Or pay 2 months of rent and then just kind of use what I get off my paychecks for the same thing. Bolster my savings. I don't really need a car right now because my job is right next door and there's no way in hell they're actually going to fire me. Because I'm too good at it. I know that sounds pretty narcissistic, but I've gotten reports from everyone. Just yeah, sometimes I get a little mouthy, but that's because I'm actually confident in the work I do. And when somebody tries to tell me that I'm not doing it right, when I'm not only doing it right, but four other things way better than they could. No, that's not right. But it's kind of weird. The reason why I say that is I got kind of mouthy with my manager. We kind of butted heads a little bit because when it comes to closing the store, that's my thing, and she's usually never around. And her procedure and my procedure are totally different. But yeah, usually when I close the store, I'm kind of I'm almost the one in charge. I'm the one coordinating everyone to do stuff so that we can get out on time, and usually we do. But my manager was trying to take over, which, I mean, that's her job. But she was just more confusing me than actually helping me get stuff done. And I, at some point, told her that I would rather just do it by myself. She didn't like that. But yeah. That was the day. Not really much to report this time. I hope you all are taking care of yourselves. May God bless you in your endeavors.